And what is that? You should be very, very careful of pickpockets and snatchers. During this period, some people are very, very desperate. And because of the economy, they also want to provide for their families. So it might lead them to doing things that are very illegal, like scams. During Christmas, I usually get sick. Don't show off your wealth, because when you show off your wealth, it becomes like a magnet. You are giving the pickpockets or the thieves something that they should plan for. Just be careful. You also have to have patience for real. You really have to have patience. I was hearing Christmas jingles, Christmas, and people were like telling me, here in the Philippines, we start our Christmas very early for real. Crowds. And especially for mega cities like Metro Manila, because that place is more like the epicenter of the country. So that is where you meet people all over the world. Because when people come to the Philippines, that is their first point of contact. Hello, guys. This is Promise, the host of Simply Promise and You. You're welcome to my YouTube channel. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you have any opinions, ensure to drop them in the comment section. It promises to be informative, educative, and entertaining. Welcome, guys. Hello, guys. Merry Christmas. Oh my gosh. But if you're new to this channel, please make sure you like, you share, and whatever thoughts you have, please make sure you drop it under the comment section. And if you're coming across the video for the first time, please subscribe. Since we are in the Yuletide season, I think it's best we talk about Christmas, right? Um, this year is gonna this is this is gonna be actually my fourth Christmas here in the Philippines. And to be honest with you, I have really enjoyed my time here. Like, there's no better place to enjoy your Christmas out than this country. That is one of the reasons why foreigners fly from all over the world to come and spend their Christmas here. I think one of the biggest reasons why they come here is because of the smiling faces on Filipinos, because they always wear good smiles. You hardly see a Filipino wearing a frown. They're always happy. But since we are in the Christmas season, I think it would be better if we can talk about things that you should know, especially as a foreigner. It might not necessarily be as a foreigner. This is a general guideline, something I want to advise everyone. Maybe from my own experience, things I have seen here that I feel like if I should share with people, they should be very, very, very careful of here. So I just had to like write down some things that people should be more careful of. And the first thing I will talk about is be wary of the holiday traffic. Just be wary of that. And just number one, be wary of holiday traffic and crowds. And especially for mega cities like Metro Manila, because that place is more like the epicenter of the country. So that is where you meet people all over the world. Because when people come to the Philippines, that is their first point of contact here in the Philippines. When I came here, I remember landing at the Ninoy Aquino airport. I was like, "Ooh!" So the airport. Okay, let me also add this. Philippines has one of the best airports I've ever seen. The airport is very, very clean. So when I landed here, I met people from different nationalities. And when I stepped out of the airport, because I came around August, the airport was already choked. But guess what? When I went outside was more choked. And I was hearing Christmas jingles, Christmas, and people were like telling me, here in the Philippines, we start our Christmas very early, for real. And so that is one of the things I'll tell you. So you should expect and be careful of um, holiday traffic and crowds. Because of this holiday traffic and crowds, you might be predisposed to maybe some infections or diseases because of how people are pressing or how people are choked or yoked together. So I think you have to be a bit careful. And one of the best ways you can help yourself because of the traffic is by planning ahead. And As part of also planning ahead, you should book your trip on time so you can always leave early. And you should also make use of good traffic apps that can help you navigate your path here. And honestly, you also have to you also have to have patience for real. You really have to have patience. And hello, please avoid last minute shopping. This will really help you. I think another thing that people should be very, very careful of during this period. I think it's something that is, I don't want to say it's peculiar to the Philippines. Every country have their own challenges. My country, I think like the next point I want to drop, like this thing that you should be very, very careful of is almost everywhere in the whole world, even in my own country. And what is that? You should be very, very careful of pickpockets and snatchers. Like you see, because of the crowd, everybody is so sometimes you can be frustrated, you might be distracted, and you might lose focus. Crowds can be a hunting grounds for these pickpockets and these thieves, and it can also include places like the markets, like the mall, and even like the Simba Gabi. So, so one of the things I would advise you is to make sure that you secure your bags in front of you. Hey, don't flash your phones. Don't show off. Don't show off your wealth, because when you show off your wealth, it becomes like a magnet. You are giving the pickpockets or the thieves something that they should plan for. Just be careful. Don't show off this period. Yeah. And another thing I also want to talk about is there's something that the Filipinos called holiday circuit. That is holiday sickness. I think that's also one of the problems me I also have. During Christmas, I usually get sick. For mine is usually both physical and psychological. One of the reasons why it's psychological is because I had a very, very awful experience some time ago. I also lost someone very, very important in my life. So when Christmas is approaching, I kind of like get a bit down. So this period, you should just be. That's one of the things. You should just be careful, because for those people that are coming in areas that have cold temperature, and you're not adjusting to hotter climates, it can be very, very difficult. And another thing is just that when you might also be predisposed to flu during this period, because people are always happy, excited. You see them drinking, smoking, and sometimes the food can be contaminated, so you can have sickness in the sense of flu because of this holiday period. So I think you should be very, very careful. So one of the best things that you should just do is to always stay hydrated. Make sure you walk with your drinking water bottle or a tumbler. So it will always remind you that you need to stay hydrated. And you also have to moderate your intake of salt and maybe fatty lechon. Here in the Philippines, baboy, baboy. You know what is baboy? Okay. Baboy is pig. That's what baboy here. And your lechon manok. So you have to moderate how you take things like that. And also make sure that you have adequate rest. Yeah, I know you're here to enjoy, but make sure you have adequate rest. And don't skip medications. Don't. I think another thing that you should also be careful of, since I made mention about the crowds and the traffic, um, it can also lead to many dangers. So the fourth one is that you should be very, very careful of firecracker injuries and fire hazards. People like you'll be hearing firecrackers, bush, 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 bush. So, and I'm sure you know that the government have made regulations to manage or alleviate some of the dangers that come from these firecrackers. Despite these laws and despite this regulation that the government has made, injuries happen. So there are some times that Christmas lights can, if left unattended to, can cause fire outbreaks. So one thing I will also advise people is to just like they should keep an eye um, to those things. And please be careful. Make sure you follow government regulations. And for those that want to use firecrackers, please do not use it in places that can be very, very inflammable to avoid combustions, to avoid explosions, because you only live once, so you have to be very, very careful. And another thing I also want to talk about is lavish gastos, the financial overspender. Yeah, I understand you. This is Christmas happens every once in every year. You want to take care of yourself. You want to enjoy yourself. I understand that you might be pressured to like sometimes you might be pressured to like show off. You might be pressured to yeah, you might be pressured to show off, pressure to give people gifts, pressure to host feasts and wear new clothes, and that can even lead you to severe debt. You need to like know your budget and do your best to stick to your budget. Like one of the best ways you can do that is that you have to like set a strict budget plan, and you have to remember that you should like make thoughtful homemade gifts that you want to give out to people, and make sure you keep it to the minimum. There, this is not gonna be your last Christmas. Next year we're still gonna have another Christmas, so you have to make sure that you plan effectively. Yeah. Another thing is that you need to be careful this period is food poisoning. Last year, I had that. You know, sometimes in the bids to entertain ourselves, we might not really cook food the way we want to cook food, because there are people to impress, there are people to look after. We often do not pay attention to our storage facilities, and it can also lead to the spoilage of food. That if you're not careful, there will be the growth of bacteria in the food, and it can lead to food poisoning. So one of the best things you have to do is make sure that you refrigerate maybe leftovers. Um, yeah, and just be cautious with lechon manok that are leftovers and all these mayonnaise-based dishes. So that's one of the things you have to do. I think another thing that is just like for Filipinos, Catholicism is very big here, and so they do this godmother, goddaughter, godson thing here in the Philippines. So there's something they call the curse of the godparent. So I know it's like is a cultural joke, but there's a real pressure by godparents to give money to many of their godchildren. So during this period, you need to be, like I said earlier in the previous point that I made, stick to your budget. And also, parents, one of the best things that parents can do is to not pressure their children to ask their godparents for gifts during this period. It's very, very important. Now, lastly, let's talk about this one. I think one of the things that you need to be very, very careful of is scams and budol. Like, yeah, scams. You have to be very, very careful of scams like budol. There are people that are organizing fake charities. There are people that are doing online shopping fraud, and even some doorstep solicitors. There are some people that might just come to your house, say, hey, give us this. Some of those people are maybe perhaps are coming to your house to investigate your house, to make a surveillance on how they can rob you the next time. So at this period, you have to be very, very, very careful, because during this period, some people are very, very desperate. And because of the economy, they also want to provide for their families. So it might lead them to doing things that are very illegal, like scams. So this season can also beget scammers. There are influx of scammers. So you have to be very, very careful. So if there's any charity that people are asking you to take part in, please verify. Even if it comes from a close pal, it comes from a close family member, you have to verify everything. You have to use reputable online sellers. I get in it. So you have to be very, very skeptical of too good to be true deals at this period. But uh, yeah, if there are other things that I made mention of that, if there are other things that I didn't include in this video that you feel like I should have mentioned, please let me know in the comment section. I believe that if we can, and if you can look at these things and try to abide by them, you have high chances of enjoying and having a good Christmas experience. So you have to be very, very careful. But to be, like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, Philippines has the best Christmas celebrations. Take it from me. So, so from me to you guys, take care. See you next time.